Chosen one, listen carefully. Heaven itself has pressed pause on everything around you, so this word could pierce your spirit. You are not here by mistake. You are not scrolling by chance. This interruption is divine, and it carries weight. The battles you faced were never random. The same shackles that tried convincing you they were permanent, the same whispers of darkness that told you it was over, today they break. Right now, a shift is happening inside of you that hell cannot reverse. Look at you. You've walked through storms that should have drowned you, yet you're still standing. That is proof of who you are. Marked, destined, chosen. Many counted you out, and even you wondered if you had the strength to keep going. But here you are, and this moment is heaven's evidence that you were never abandoned. Your life is sealed under divine mandate. The darkness that chased you will never touch you again. Every curse that traced your bloodline is shattered. Every hidden fear that told you it was too late has been silenced. The cage of your past has no power against the hand of God on your tomorrow. Hear this. You're stepping into a new chapter. What you thought would break you has actually revealed your true calling. The shadows of betrayal, sin, and sorrow cannot follow you forward. Light cannot be overtaken by darkness. And you, chosen one, are light. You don't just make it through the fight. The scars are crowns of evidence that you wear. Consider it. Every night when you can't sleep. Each and every tear that scorched your pillow. Heaven saw every time when you felt that no one could relate to you. And now heaven declares, finished. No more wandering in circles. No more cycles repeating. No more pretending you are weak when the truth is you are unstoppable in God's hands. Chosen one, this is why the enemy fought you so fiercely. He saw what you carried. He saw the crown before you even recognized it. That's why the attacks felt heavier on you than on others. That's why you were misunderstood, rejected, and overlooked. But let me tell you, the mystery rejection was actually protection. What you lost was only clearing the way for what is greater. You're not like the rest. You were never meant to blend in. That strange sense that you never fit in, that was not a curse. That was confirmation. God has set you apart. You were meant to walk in power, to carry an anointing that breaks atmospheres, to bring light into spaces no one else dared to enter. The moment you walked into a room, even before you spoke a word, the darkness already trembled. And now the announcement thunders. It is finished. You are walking into a freedom that will not collapse beneath your feet. You will walk through open doors, and the doors will stay open. You will carry peace in your mind, and the peace will not be stolen. You will wake up with purpose, and that purpose will not fade. This is why you must not take these words lightly. This is not just encouragement. This is prophecy. This is the decree of heaven breaking through the noise of earth to get to you. You are the chosen, the one marked for this moment. Believe it because the time for doubting is over. If these words are resonating with your spirit, if you know you are the one this message is found, then I invite you, like this word, share it so another chosen one can be lifted. Subscribe so you never miss the flow of these divine decrees. You're not alone. We are a family of light, and together we rise. Now, as a prophetic act, I call you to comment the number 777 below. This number is a sign of completion, of perfection, of heaven's seal. Type amen to embrace the angel's blessings. Show your support by giving super thanks up to $20. By writing it, you are declaring in faith, it is finished in my life. Do not hesitate. Do not delay. Mark this moment as the day you stepped fully out of the shadows and into the unshakable light. Chosen one, now that the declaration has gone forth, let us look at the hidden battles that once consumed you. So much of your journey has been fought in silence in places no one else could see. Outwardly, you kept moving, smiling, even laughing. But inwardly, you were carrying storms that seemed impossible to explain. Those sleepless nights, those questions you dare not ask out loud. Those moments where you nearly broke under the weight of invisible burdens. All of it was real, and yet through it all, you were never abandoned. There were seasons when you asked, why me? Why do I have to carry so much? Sometimes you had the impression that you were marked out for misfortune, as if someone had been lured to your life. In actuality, you were destined for destiny rather than destruction. Every covert conflict served as a training ground. Preparation appeared to be punishment. In the stillness, God was fortifying you, creating an internal resilience that is unshakable. And heaven was recording every move you took, even when you believed no one was watching. The invisible hours when you suppressed your tears. The prayers were spoken into your pillow in silence. The times when you wanted to quit up but decided to get back up. They weren't squandered. They became into pillars supporting your future. God was writing a chapter, even if the world may have forgotten about you. The human eye couldn't edit. Your spiritual strength was developed by the same weight that held you down, preparing you for triumphs that would shock generations. Through the prophet Jeremiah, the Spirit communicated. Verse 11, chapter 29. I am aware of my intentions for you, which are to offer you hope and a bright future rather than to damage you. Keep this close at hand, because this promise served as the backdrop for every fight you faced. Heaven had already seen your healing, even when it seemed like life was falling apart. Consider the number of times you were pushed to the brink, yet managed to stay upright. It wasn't a coincidence. You developed a deeper voice as a result of the very struggles that were intended to quiet you. You have experienced the pain of unanswered prayers, the loneliness of betrayal, and the sting of rejection. However, those times weren't squandered. In order for you to bear more glory than you could have ever dreamed, they were chiseling, sculpting, and honing your heart. Think about this. Only under pressure can diamonds form. Fire is the only way to purify gold. And the unique gem that God has been secretly creating is you, chosen one. Heaven gathered the tears, even if no one else saw them. Even if no one else could have comprehended the burden you were carrying, heaven fortified you under it. The covert conflicts were not an indication of weakness. They served as proof of your innate calling. You survived for a purpose. What would have broken other people? When so many gave up, there's a reason you're still breathing. The explanation is straightforward. You weren't supposed to stay in the hole. Your narrative didn't end with those covert conflicts. They serve as the setting for your ascent. You start to notice something now, that light is shining into your soul. Type amen to embrace the angel's blessings. Show your support by giving super thanks up to $20. The thing that used to torture you no longer holds you. The scars you've been carrying for so long are starting to heal. You can't follow the ghosts that plagued you into the next season. Not because the past didn't exist. The reason for this is because the past is no longer relevant. You have entered a world where the evil has lost its might. Selected one, there is no more stillness. You used to feel unworthy, invisible, and unprepared due to the secret fights. Now, however, your testimony is those very struggles. It is impossible to steal your tale. You bear splendor in your wounds. Additionally, you will give those who are currently struggling in secret new life. You will become the very weapon you use against the adversary because of what once shattered. This is how divine intent is beautiful. There is no waste. The years when you believed God was far away, the nights of suffering, and the days of bewilderment have all been turned into strength. You are evidence that it is possible to survive. Furthermore, you are evidence that triumph is inevitable. So keep your head up as you go. Walk with the knowledge that the hidden has been exposed, that the hardships that were before a source of personal embarrassment are now open manifestations of God's faithfulness. Even now, your life is testifying and your tale is changing. You didn't lose. You were ready. You weren't overlooked. For a season, you were concealed until the appropriate moment. The moment has now arrived. Choose one. As we go, chosen one, it's time to face the same things that formerly restrained your spirit. Before your own eyes, the oppressive cycles of guilt, shame, and fear that once seemed insurmountable are dissolving. Are you aware that you were never intended to be defined by such patterns? They were deliberately designed, prisons designed to make you forget your true self. However, the sound of shattering is now audible. The chains are breaking apart. The adversary lied to you for years to make you believe that you were stuck there forever. He said you were too shattered to be healed, too tainted to be redeemed, and too weak to reform. However, all of the lies are now being revealed. Truth is here, and your soul rises in rebellion. You're not confined. You're at liberty. We don't forget you. We remember you. You're not doomed. You are quite fortunate. Chapter 107 of the Book of Psalms contains a declaration from God. In verse 14, Jesus freed them from their bonds and led them out of the complete darkness. This goes beyond history. You live in this world. Today, the same God who rocked prison walls and split oceans is still at work. He's done it for you too. Take a time to think about this. This is where the cycle finishes. The addiction that previously attempted to take over your life is waning. The embarrassment that forced you to conceal is fading. Type amen to embrace the angel's blessings. Show your support by giving super thanks up to $20. You're no longer immobilized by the same terror. The atmosphere itself changes where you stand because freedom has arrived. However, keep in mind the selected one. Freedom encompasses more than just what separates you. It has to do with your inner awakening. Identity rises when shackles fall. Now, with strength, the real you emerges after years of battle. You are entering a new phase of life, mental clarity, and spiritual power. What used to frighten you now yields to the might of Christ at work inside you. The mystery is right here. Your scars stop hurting, but they don't go away. Rather, they shine as evidence that you survived. What was once a source of humiliation now bears witness to grace. To enter your future, you don't have to delete your past. Your history has turned into the very proof that God fully redeems. Sometimes you felt that you weren't worthy of being picked because of your shackles. But pay attention. The precise evidence of your chosen position was your shackles. If not to stop you from exercising the power you were meant to have, why else would the adversary battle you so hard? The end is not chains. They're the battleground where your triumph was established. I still talk about the regions where you can still feel the effects of bondage. Release them. Let go of your fear. Shame, disintegration, guilt, disappearance, rage, departure, and sadness. Let go of it. Your spirit, soul, and intellect are all free in addition to your physical body. This freedom is not only for you, chosen one. It is a generational issue. Your children will never be impacted by the shackles that have been broken in your life. You're the victim of the curses that plague your family. You are the one who breaks lines, breaks curses, and transforms whole generations into blessings. For those who come after you, what seemed inconceivable will become second nature. Don't undervalue this moment's strength. A sense of deliverance is still sinking down on you as you read these lines. Your inner guy is coming out. You feel stronger, lighter, and more lucid. Emotion is not that. It's freedom. Heaven attests to it. You're at liberty. I now face you straight, selected one. As a prophecy, I would want you to remark on the chains below. Put in bold writing. Put it in writing as a testimonial. It should be written as a public statement of what heaven has already decided. You're doing more than merely engaging when you write those words. You are consenting to the lifelong decree. According to you, here is where the cycle stops. I've changed. Yes, I'm free. Don't be scared to commemorate this time, I guess. Confession has power. A breakthrough has been made in the declaration, and you're moving from quiet to bravery when you write those words down. You are testifying that you have been released for all time in front of heaven, earth, and even the powers of evil. Witness to climb. Let the sound of breaking shackles reverberate in your soul, chosen one. Your freedom is not brittle, so go ahead with courage. It never dies. You won't ever be forced to return to your previous restraints. You're at liberty, and whomever is set free by the Son is really free. Selected one, let's take a moment to reflect, not to wallow in grief, but to acknowledge the significance of what you have gone through. The valleys you traversed weren't easy routes. The air was thick, and the quiet seemed to go on forever in these deep, shadowy areas. You're still here, however. Heaven supported you every time you felt like the darkness would engulf you. It is crucial to identify such valleys, since doing so deprives them of their hidden power. Every time despair crushed like a stone on your chest, a silent strength within you said, "Keep going." You endured rejection. You experienced treachery. You had an intolerable sense of loneliness. You endured evenings when it felt like no one would hear your prayers. Even nevertheless, every shade finally disappeared and every valley had a conclusion. What others did not endure, you did. You were picked, not because you were more powerful. The book of Psalms contains declarations from God's word. Verse 4 of chapter 23. You are with me, so I won't be afraid of anything, even if I pass through the valley of the shadow of death. Your staff and your rod, they give me solace. Long ago, these remarks weren't just for David alone. Think back to the times you wondered if God had forgotten you. His presence carried you most lovingly at those exact moments. In the same way as tracks in the sand indicate one set at the most trying moments. In the same way, the Lord saved you from drowning during storms. You were maintained even though you couldn't see his hand. Now, take a close look at yourself. You have scars from surviving. Your belief is not a hypothesis. It has undergone furnace testing. You understand what it's like to worship in agony, pray with tears in your eyes, and hold on to hope when all the evidence points to failure. Your testimony is significant because of this. You're not just saying things again. You're speaking from personal experience and faith that has been tried and proven has power. Are you aware of the extent of what you went through? The same challenges would have caused many to collapse. Nevertheless, you persevered through disappointment and loss, through mockery and miscommunication, and through spiritual combat that attempted to silence your voice. Nevertheless, God's breath persisted inside you, keeping you alive. For this reason, you should never minimize your chances of survival. It's a wonder to survive at all. Selected one. Each valley you traversed wasn't a punishment. It was getting ready. The light inside you was always greater than the darkness that scared you. The valley strengthened your voice when the adversary believed it would quiet you. Desperation strengthened your dependence on God when Satan believed it would paralyze you. Resilience was sown in the exact soil that the adversary intended to destroy. This holds a sacred truth. There was no detour through the valley. It was a classroom. You learned compassion from every cry. You learned perseverance from every wound. You gained wisdom from every setback. You learned to trust God over all human might after each betrayal. You now possess insight that cannot be purchased, formed only in the furnace of suffering. Don't hate the road you've traveled without those peaks. You wouldn't stand the way you do. Steadfast, strong, and unflinching. Your pleasure now would not be so bright without those nights of grief. You wouldn't know how to listen for the Spirit's quiet little whisper if it weren't for those quiet seasons. Your qualification is based on what you have undergone. Furthermore, the valleys were just transient, although seeming genuine. That's the pledge that's sowed over you. Not into them, not to stay within them, but through them you moved. There was an expiry date on each shadow. There was a borderline for each trial. You are now standing on the other side, as a selected survivor, crowned with testimony, rather than as a victim. Remember this always. Now the darkness you escaped is helpless. It can't go back to your current situation. You cannot allow it to follow you into the future. You're over it, and it will stay behind you. The valley does not define you. The fact that you came out of it defines you. Because you vanquished darkness, you are a light. Therefore, raise your gaze and recollect with respect, but without fear. Valleys are not the end, as you demonstrate. You are a live example of how darkness cannot triumph. Now, whatever you do is not just for you. For those who are still traversing their valleys, it serves as a torch. They will realize that survival is feasible once they meet you. They will think that they can get back up after hearing you. Your valleys are no longer shackles, chosen one. In the wind of your fate, they are flags of victory. You now go on as the chosen one, crowned with light, rather than as someone plagued by darkness. Fire is a mark on your trip. The fires you passed through are not retribution. Purification was what they were. Every hardship and season that appeared to burn your soul was intended to purify you rather than to devour you. Fire has a way of exposing the truth and destroying the untrue. You survive the fire, and all that's left is gold. Imagine the blacksmith putting iron in the furnace. The heat is too much to endure. The fire was fierce. The smith's hands, however, are always on the metal. Why? As he is aware that it is not destroyed by the fire. Forms. That's how it has been for you. In the furnace, God's hand never abandoned you. His instrument, not his anger, was the fire. And now you come out of it with purpose, stronger and sharper. The book of Isaiah, chapter 48, verse 10, contains the thunderous voice of God. I have polished you, you see, but not to the level of silver. I put you to the test in the furnace of suffering. Your narrative is well captured in these terms. Although the suffering was genuine, the goal was higher. A vessel that could bear greatness without shattering was being created out of you. Can you see it now, beloved? Not a single tear was in vain. The fire was cooled by water, so as not to ruin you. All of your losses were like pruning branches, painful yet essential for the production of fresh fruit. You are not delicate glass, as the fire demonstrated. Unshaggable steel, nevertheless. The adversary was unable to shatter you because of this. You didn't realize how powerful God was making your spirit. I now want to address your heart in a very pragmatic manner. You have traveled through fire, felt the bonds break, walked through valleys, and fought unseen wars. That refinement includes this message itself. And if you feel that these words are igniting your spirit, extinguishing hope and destroying despair, I encourage you to share them with others. Imagine light in a cave that is dark. A person may see a few paces ahead with only one flashlight. However, the whole cave is lighted when torches are shared. It's like raising your torch higher when you enjoy this message. Sharing it with someone else who is still fumbling in the dark is like handing the torch to them. Saying, I will keep this fire alive in my journey, is equivalent to subscribing. There's one more thing, too. Some of you who have been chosen feel compelled to go deeper, to not only experience the flame, but also to feed it. Similar to how oil was added to the temple lamps to maintain their flames. Giving is one way that we may contribute to this cause. A seed sprouts into a tree that provides many people with shade. Donating is about more than just money. It has to do with lamp oil. Oh, don't feel pressured. It's your way of saying, I will not let this light fade. I will help it reach others who are still in the dark. Experience an invitation. Giving from your heart should flow spontaneously, just as a river does not need water. Let it be an act of worship if your spirit is moved. You're not just endorsing a term. You are igniting a global movement of light. Selected one. Know this. To a guy, you are not giving. You're stitching yourself into eternity. Heaven nurtures the seeds of every like, share, subscription, and gift, and they develop into testimonials you would never hear this side of eternity. The spark you helped keep going will force someone far away, someone you may never meet, to rise. Picture a lighthouse during a storm. Ships are prevented from crashing on the cliffs by a lone, steady light in the distance. Without oil, upkeep, and those who are concerned enough to keep it burning, that lighthouse would not be able to beam. As one of those guardians of the light, you are cordially welcomed. For many others who are still adrift at sea, your assistance, whether it be via button clicking or seed planting, keeps the light constant. Manipulation is not what this is. Multiplication is what this is. Holding the flame by itself is sufficient to direct your movements. But when we keep the flame going, it turns into a beacon that shines across seas. Hear me, chosen one. Fire has tested, marked, and strengthened you. The precise proof that you were selected was found in the flames that attempted to destroy you. You now have an option. Will you allow the fire to burn, or will you conceal it? Your gift, like, share, and subscribe. These actions are not insignificant. In other spirits, they're the sparks that light bonfires. Thus, become the leader you are always destined to be. Boldly carry the flame. Make the night brighter for other people. And keep in mind that those who go through fire do not come out empty-handed. They come out luminous. Selected one. Let's consider the kindness that has sustained you. Your own strength would not have sufficed in some seasons. There were moments when, but for the invisible hand holding you up, you would have undoubtedly stumbled. Mercy followed you despite your doubts, your wanderings, and your feelings of ineligibility for love. It has surrounded your life like an imperceptible barrier, keeping you safe from harm and defending you from conflicts you were unaware existed. Mercy is not a sign of weakness. Mercy is compassion wrapped around strength. God is saying, I see your flaws, yet I choose you still. I see your mistakes, yet I call you mine. The fact is that none of us could survive if fairness were the sole standard by which we were judged. However, compassion has a stronger voice. Your tale was rewritten by mercy. When you believed the darkness would go forever, mercy offered you another morning. When you fell, mercy gave you the strength to get back up. In chapter 2, verse 4 of his epistle to the Ephesians, the apostle reminds us, but even though we were dead in our sins, God, who is rich in compassion, brought us back to life with Christ because of his immense love for us. You have been rescued by grace. Allow these words to linger in your soul. You were raised. The abundance of heavenly kindness, not your own actions. Recall the moments when you were on the verge of giving up. Maybe you thought that the weight of your regrets, the guilt, or your failings were too much to bear. You continued to breathe. Nevertheless, somehow, the narrative didn't finish there for some reason. In a way, it was mercy. Not yet. There is more. Mercy murmured. Of you see, chosen one, you have been carried when you did not even realize it. Each time despair attempted to persuade you that you were finished. Like a kid who is too tired to continue walking. They hoisted you up and hugged you tight. You're still standing today because of this. Mercy has been your invisible friend. It accompanied you as you entered the valley. Additionally, it is guiding you into the light. This is where mercy's wonder lies. It doesn't only save you. It heals you. It returns what the adversary took from you. It restores what you believed was gone. Where guilt formerly held your heart, it transforms the ashes into beauty. You are now clothed in freedom by mercy. Selected one. The power of compassion is often underestimated. They think that strength is sufficient on its own. Without kindness, however, might turns into cruelty. Without kindness, knowledge becomes icy. Mercy does not weaken you. It softens you. And it gives you confidence without making you tough. Your spirit is refined by the soft fire. You are alive for a purpose. A reason why the burden you bore did not cause you to drown. Mercy is the cause. And the kindness that surrounded you today and will protect you tomorrow is the same mercy that kept you safe yesterday. You're not walking alone. Grace is enveloping you. You may let go of your prior guilt because of this. The guilt that attempts to whisper falsehoods in your ear may be silenced for this reason. Mercy has said something, and darkness must flee when kindness speaks. I now invite you to remark on the number 555 below as a sign of trust and a prophetic accord. This number represents the overflowing of divine involvement in your life, amplified by grace and compassion. You are stating that I am carried by kindness by writing it. I'm not forgotten. Grace is all around me, which is why I am living. This is not something to be taken lightly. This truth becomes more ingrained in your soul when you put it into words. You are witnessing to heaven and earth as well as to yourself. That's your share of compassion. And let your emotions to resound with this proclamation. Mercy will save you from falling. You won't be left behind where grace has taken you. The place where love has enveloped you will not devour you. God's kindness is not brittle. It's fierce. It never dies. It won't fail either. Selected one. Take a big breath now. Experience the calm that follows realizing you are being carried. This affection is not yours to earn. You don't need to demonstrate your value. All you need to do is get. You inherited this. Mercy that is renewed each day. Endless mercy. Therefore, go with courage, knowing that compassion has come before you. Talk freely. The accuser has been silenced by knowing kindness. Live a happy life. Your future is safe because you know kindness. You are the chosen one, born by divine purpose rather than by accident. Selected one. At some point, heaven itself gives a parting message. No darkness can overrule that edict. For you, that time has come. The difficulties that seem to pursue you ceaselessly. The darkness that attempted to hold onto your future. All of the worries that formerly followed you about have outlived their usefulness. The word of God is final because he has spoken. The darkness is no longer allowed to pursue you. The adversary has put in a lot of effort to persuade you that he still has control over your life. In an attempt to convince you that those shackles still held sway, he attempted to recite your old recollections. He attempted to persuade you that nothing could change by using well-known patterns. However, the authority of heaven cannot be disputed. No power can reopen what God has closed once he declares it completed. The book of Isaiah is filled with powerful old words. Verse 17 of chapter 54. You will defeat every mouth that condemns you, and no weapon used against you will succeed. The Lord says, "This is the legacy of the servants of the Lord, and this is my vindication of them." Allow these words to become a shield that settles inside your soul. They're more than just ink on paper. They are heaven's thunder reverberating through your life right now. Selected one. Take note. The poem makes no mention of the construction of weaponry. They won't flourish, it says. Battles may start to emerge. Attacks may seem like they're coming, but they can't get through. The decision has already been made. In the face of this order, every charge made against you, every lie said over your name, and every curse muttered in private are all rendered ineffective. Are you aware of the importance of this? You're no longer dependent on your circumstances. The burden of dread no longer causes you to bend. You are governed by a covenant that has been sealed with divine power. Your vindication has been announced by God himself, and no voice of resistance can overrule his decision. Imagine a courtroom. The accuser can get up and describe all of your shortcomings, flaws, and prior transgressions. The judge of all creation, however, slams his gavel before he can finish, saying, "Case dismissed." That's what happened to you, chosen one. The blood of Jesus and the decree of heaven have hushed every allegation the adversary has attempted to make against you. Your future is secure because of this. It's because God has spoken over it, not because of chance or luck. You live within the castle that is his word. His decision is impenetrable like a wall of fire. Now is the moment to move with renewed assurance. You don't have to live in fear of the past catching up with you again. Living in constant anxiety of what can go wrong tomorrow is not necessary. Your anchor is the word of the Lord. Your covering is the decision of heaven. Think about the number of times you've been up at night wondering what may have happened. What if nothing changes? What if I don't succeed again? What if all is lost? We are now silencing such queries. They've spoken the last word. Furthermore, it is not a term of dread. It's a triumphant term. Selected one. The darkness no longer has the right to pursue you. Light spreads out around you as soon as you take a step forward. Heaven reacts powerfully as soon as you open your lips in prayer. Unseen doors start to open the instant you take a step of trust. Why? Because you are stepping into an irrevocable decree. Even in the face of difficulties and storms, you remain unbroken. Keep this in mind. Storms may build, weapons may be developed, and shadows may move in, yet none of them can win. Darkness cannot shatter the seal you hold, and this is possibly the most potent reality. You're no longer required to defend yourself. You don't have to defend yourself against those who disparage you, debate with people who don't understand you, or prove yourself to people who don't believe in you. Heaven has already spoken. You've been proven right. The same people who accused you will stop talking. God's justice, not your retribution, will quiet the same voices who made fun of you. So, selected one, stand tall. Walk with the assurance of an experienced person. The decision has been made. Let your voice be solid, your heart unflinching, and your feet courageous. You have a word that will always protect, defend, and safeguard you. Remember that God's word is the last word every day from now on. The edict has been issued, regardless of the sounds that surround you or the attempts of shadows to re-emerge. You cannot be touched. You've been proven right. You're at liberty. Selected one. Take a time to reflect on the extent of what has been done for you. Your freedom is neither arbitrary nor brittle. It has an everlasting foundation. Your own determination, trying, or excellence are not the cornerstones of your success. The cross is the cornerstone. The indisputable evidence that your freedom is safe is found in the blood of Jesus. When the adversary recalls the cross, he shudders. He is aware that the cost was finally borne, that no further sacrifices are required. Chains are not only broken, he understands. They are left helpless. Your assurance was the echo of Christ's scream, "It is finished." No K, no demon. What was cemented that day cannot be undone by any shadow. In chapter 2, verse 15 of his epistle to the Colossians, the apostle reminds us, "And after disarming the authorities and powers, he defeated them by the cross and made a public show of them." Think carefully about this. Every force that aimed to subjugate you has been neutralized. Every authority figure who attempted to oppose you has been humiliated. The cross represented complete triumph as well as salvation. You see, you're not fighting for freedom, chosen one. You have already paid your freedom. Your fights are about reinforcing what is already yours, not about winning. Everything is altered by this. Even though he may growl, the opponent has lost his fangs. He may level accusations, yet there is no power in his voice. Despite his threats, his weapons remain inoperable. You are not only set free from sin by the cross, it bestowed fate onto you. No man can close the doors it opened. It guaranteed that you were a cherished, selected, and redeemed person. You're not chained. You're wearing a crown. You are not a condemned person. Glory is carried by you. Remind yourself of a courtroom. There was actual debt against you. The proof is indisputable. A larger voice, paid in full, shouted just as the gavel was ready to fall. That is the cross's power. You are pronounced righteous as well as free when you leave that courtroom. Not merely pardoned, but validated. Not only was he exonerated, but he was also recognized as a royal kid. Selected one. There is more to this fact than religion. You live with it every day. Remember the cross whenever remorse starts to creep in. Keep the cross in mind whenever guilt attempts to reappear. Remember the cross whenever fear tries to infiltrate. The triumph was not fleeting. It never ended. It cannot be reversed. Think about the crown you wear. It is a crown bestowed by heavenly favor rather than one that is acquired by human accomplishment. By placing the crown on your head, the cross proclaimed you to be an heir rather than a slave. Not shattered, but repaired. Not deserted, but cherished. For this reason, you must never again submit to the shadows of the past. You are royalty in a position of power. You also have access to power that trembles the heavens and the earth via the crucifixion. Are you aware of this? You now possess the same spirit that brought Jesus back to life. This indicates that you are infused with the power of resurrection. You possess the power to breathe life into areas that have died, to proclaim liberation into hearts that are imprisoned, and to bring calm into turbulent environments. You're not weak. Divine power is carried by you. The adversary is afraid of you because of this. He is not afraid of your history or your frailties. Because of the cross, he is afraid of the power you possess. He is aware that you become unstoppable when you have complete faith in yourself. For this reason, he makes a concerted effort to divert your attention, burden you with false information, and prevent you from seeing who you really are. But now those falsehoods are falling apart. Like a flame, truth is rising inside you. Your tale has been altered, chosen one. The ending changed the instant the cross crossed your life. There is hope today where there was despair. Liberty now exists where bondage formerly existed. Life now exists where death formerly existed. You walk like a winter crowned with destiny rather than as a victim of misfortune. Remember that the cross was not the end. It was only the start. The resurrection followed the crucifixion. Death was followed by full life. The same is true for you. Your life's events that seemed to be coming to an end were really stepping stones to something bigger. Every door that had been shut was opening to a resurrection. Each setback was setting the ground for a bigger crop. So, choose one and raise your eyes. Consider the cross to be your current basis rather than a bygone era. You may walk with the assurance that what was completed back then is still completed now. Let each step serve as a reminder that you are crowned. You're at liberty. You cannot be touched. Your history and your shortcomings have been overshadowed by the message of the cross, more loud than your worries. Nothing can take away the crown that sits upon your head. You are and will continue to be this person. Selected one. Within you, something incredible is taking place. You're not just stepping out of the shadows. You're taking on a new persona. What used to define you is no longer powerful. The labels that others gave you for failing, broken and undeserving, are being wiped out. Your humiliation is dropping to the floor like a burdensome garment. Heaven is giving you a new gown, a new authority, and a new name. Names are important. They influence your self-perception and how other people see you. You have been burdened by the enemy's whispered false identities for far too long. Words that pierced your heart were forgotten, weak, and hopeless. However, God Himself is speaking to you about something bigger today. The fictitious names are removed. Your future, not your history, is reflected in a new name that has been inscribed. The writings of David in Psalms 1:1, 139:14 serve as a friendly reminder. I thank you for creating me in such a beautiful and terrifying way. Your creations are amazing. I am fully aware that these are hardly far-flung verses. They embody the essence of your identity. You are meant to be afraid, but not out of fear, but out of respect. Beautifully made with intention rather than by accident. Selected one. You're being unveiled here. Like a sculptor who creates a masterpiece by chipping away the rough stone. God has been at work in your life. The artist's tools were every strike of anguish, every elimination of what you believed you needed, and every season of stripping away. The masterwork is now being unveiled. You have a new name, crowned, chosen, redeemed, and adored. However, this new identity is not only something you should silently appreciate. It must be lived, breathed, and manifested in a powerful way. You are supposed to enter the world with courage, radiating the reality of who you are instead of retreating into the shadows of lies. Never undervalue the significance of a fresh name. Abraham was born to Abram. Sarai changed to Sarah. Israel was born to Jacob. Paul was born out of Saul. Every alteration was a movement of fate rather than just a change of letters. The same is true for you. The trajectory of your life changes the instant heaven addresses you by your real name. You're drawn onward by your new identity and cannot stay where you were. Imagine having a crown put on your head. It might first seem burdensome, strange, or even overpowering. The weight, however, becomes a natural part of the power that has been placed in your hands as you learn to bear it. This is your time to learn how to behave like a king or queen. You're not pleading at the gates anymore. The table is where you are sitting. And now I address your spirit directly. Don't believe the falsehoods that made you who you are. Refuse to be the old you. Enter the wholeness of your identity. To commemorate this occasion, I would want you to write the words, I am new. Clearly, proudly, and without hesitation, write it. This term is not used casually. It is an act of prophecy. Declaring it puts your speech in line with the will of heaven. You proclaim the end of the old to the world, to yourself, and to all the forces of evil. The new has arrived. You are conveying more than just your conviction when you write those 3 words. You're moving into harmony with your fate. Text on a screen is just one aspect of it. In the spirit, it is a seal. It is you saying, I refuse to live under yesterday's names. I embrace who God says I am. I'm chosen one. Your identity is not fragile. It is rooted in eternity. It cannot be revoked by gossip, shaken by rejection, or undone by failure. Once God names you, that name is sealed forever. You walk as one marked by heaven, and no force on earth can erase it. Remember this always. The names of your past were lies. They were heavy garments meant to hide your true form. But today those garments are burned in the fire, and you stand clothed in light. The crown upon your head is not temporary. It is eternal. You're no longer who you were. You are new, chosen, radiant, unstoppable. So rise into your identity. Chosen one, walk boldly in your new name. And whenever doubt tries to whisper otherwise, speak back with authority. I am new, chosen one. Imagine yourself stepping out from a cave into the sunrise. The shadows cling for a moment, but they cannot remain when the light is revealed. This is your reality. Now you are walking in the light, and the night that once haunted you no longer has authority. It is not that shadows do not exist, but they have lost the power to overtake you. Where once you stumbled in darkness, now every step is illuminated with divine clarity. There's something profound about walking in light. Light does not only show the path ahead. It exposes dangers, reveals treasures, and awakens beauty that was always present but hidden. The flowers that bloom at dawn do not bloom because they suddenly appeared. They were always there, waiting for the light. So too with you, chosen one. The gifts, the callings, the strength you carry were not absent. They were waiting for the dawn. The Spirit spoke through the Apostle John. Chapter 1, verse 5. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. This is not poetic imagination. It is the divine reality written over your life. The light within you is not fragile. It is unquenchable, unbreakable, and undefeatable. And because you carry this light, the world around you shifts. Your presence alone changes atmospheres. When you enter a room, it is as if someone opened a window and let fresh air in. That is why some people react strongly to you. They feel the exposure of the light. Do not take their rejection as failure. Take it as confirmation. Light is never meant to blend with darkness. It is meant to disrupt it. Chosen one, this journey is not just about you. Light is never selfish. A candle that burns does not only warm itself. It spreads warmth and illumination to all who are near. You are called to be such a candle. But even more, you are called to be a torch blazing high enough to guide others out of their own caves. This is where I speak to you heart to heart. If this message is igniting something within you, if you feel the warmth of this flame and the hope of this dawn, then I invite you to let your flame shine further. When you like this word, it is like placing your candle on a hill where others can see it. When you share it, you are passing the torch into another soul's hands. And when you subscribe, it is as if you are saying, I will keep walking with this light. Well, step by step, but there's more. Fuel is necessary for a fire. The temple's lights would have gone out without oil. A blaze burns down to embers without wood. For this reason, I respectfully address those who are moved. Donating is more than simply giving. Oil is being poured onto the fire. It guarantees that those who are still stuck in caves and stumbling in the dark will continue to see this light. Consider it this way. Ships are protected while a lighthouse is shining. However, the only reason the lighthouse is illuminated is because someone has paid to keep it maintained, fuel its lamp, and fix its tower. No matter how big or tiny, your support is like oil to the lighthouse. It guides innumerable souls through storms by maintaining a steady glow. Recall that giving does not equate to losing. Planting is what it is. In healthy soil, seeds do not wither away. They proliferate. Donating is like sowing seeds in the soil of light. According to your statement, let my seed become a torch for someone else. The harvest will be revealed in eternity, even if you may never meet the people your seed touches. Selected one, don't believe that your contribution is unimportant. A forest may be ignited by a single flame. A light may last the whole night with only one drop of oil. You are contributing to the spread of light whether you hit like, share, subscribe, or donate. You're saying that darkness won't have the last say, nor in my life, nor in other people's lives. Now, confidently raise your head. You're no longer a person who stumbles in the dark. You are a live example of how light triumphs over darkness. You are a torchbearer and a bearer of dawn. Walk with confidence, knowing that others will find the strength to rise as you do. And the night itself will quake, chosen one, as we unite, light upon light, flame upon flame. As heaven itself settles into judgment, there is silence. The weight of honor on your life is silencing the critics that muttered in private, the voices that ridiculed you, and the tongues that shouted against you. For years, their comments seemed to stab you like arrows. Every slight, uncertainty, and rejection had an impact. You suffered mockery because you were carrying something others could not comprehend, not because you were weak. Words have great power. Realities are shaped by them. The adversary has always attempted to injure and immobilize you by using voices, whether they are internal or external to you. He was aware that you may start to accept his falsehoods if he could sow them deeply enough. The charges hurt so much because of this. Why rejection was so painful. They were more than just words. They were blazing darts that were meant to find you. However, such voices are becoming quieter now. They're no longer in a position of power. The false narrative that has been spoken over your life is being broken. The falsehoods are being crushed, and the charges are being dismantled by the weight of God's presence. What used to sound like truth in your ears is now shown to be false. The fact that there is stillness at all indicates that triumph has come. Where the sound of falsehoods used to be overwhelming, there is now quiet. Emptiness is not the lack of accusation. It's liberty. Their remarks no longer weigh on you when you wake up. Rather, you stand up to the sound of reality. You have been selected. You are cherished. Furthermore, you have been established without reproach. The prophet Isaiah declared in chapter 50, verse 9, "It is the sovereign Lord who helps me. Who will condemn me? They will all wear out like a garment. The moths will eat them up." These words are not distant promises. They are living fire for you today. Every condemning voice raised against you is temporary. Their strength decays like worn-out cloth, unable to withstand the eternal decree of God over your life. Think back to those seasons when words nearly broke you. Perhaps it was the voice of someone close whose betrayal left you stunned. Perhaps it was the whisper of comparison telling you that you would never measure up. Or perhaps it was the internal critic repeating past failures like a broken record. Yet despite it all, you did not collapse. You endured, and now those voices are being silenced. Not because you argued louder, but because God himself has risen to defend you. This is a holy reversal. Where once you bowed under the weight of words, now you stand taller because of the word, the eternal truth that never fails. Where once you felt crushed by opinions, now you walk free, sustained by divine vindication. Every accusation has been weighed and found empty. Every critic has been unmasked as powerless. Chosen one, you no longer need to defend yourself. Vindication is not your job. It is God's. The one who called you, who marked you, who carried you through fire is the same one who now silences every enemy. You may still hear faint whispers, but they have no teeth. Nosting, no power. They are shadows vanishing in the sunrise. Consider the eagle soaring above storms. From the ground, the storm looks overwhelming, dangerous, consuming. But from an eagle's view, it is simply a cloud passed through with wings unshaken. So it is with you now. The voices below may rise, but you are above them, carried on the wind of divine strength. Their noise cannot reach the heights where you dwell. And here is the deeper truth. Those who mock you will one day witness your rising. They will see what God has done in your life, and their mouths will fall silent, not out of respect for you, but out of awe for him. Your story will testify louder than any accusation. Your life will shine brighter than any slander. Chosen one, do not carry bitterness. Do not let resentment settle into your spirit. Their words no longer matter. What matters is the truth. God speaks over you. He has called you beloved, redeemed, chosen, and crowned. Those words carry eternal weight, and no other voice can overturn them. So breathe deeply now. Let the silence of your enemies become the soundtrack of your peace. Walk boldly knowing you do not need to explain yourself, justify yourself, or prove yourself. God himself has done it for you. Vindication is not in the future. It is now. Lift your eyes and remember the same tongues that cursed will be silenced. The same voices that mocked will vanish like smoke. But the words spoken over you will endure forever. You are unshaken, unbroken, unstoppable. Their words have ended. Your destiny has only begun. Chosen one, feel the shift in the atmosphere. Something profound is unfolding. The old chapter is closing, and a new one is being written even as you listen. Every season has its appointed time, and the time of wandering, delay, and heaviness has expired. You are stepping into a prophetic shift, an undeniable transition from what was to what now is. The heavens are aligning with your destiny, and the weight of glory is resting upon your shoulders. For so long, it seemed as though you were circling the same mountain, repeating the same battles, facing the same struggles. But now the divine hand is lifting you beyond the cycle. What once felt endless has come to its conclusion. The chapter that held tears, confusion, and unanswered questions is being sealed, never to reopen. In its place, a new story is being authored, one filled with clarity, acceleration, and breakthrough. You may not realize it yet, but the ground beneath your feet is different now. The atmosphere has shifted, and the very air around you carries the fragrance of change. Where once doors remained locked, you will see them opened with ease. Where once your prayers seemed delayed, answers will flow swiftly. It is as though the page has turned in a great heavenly book, and the title written above this chapter of your life is one word: fulfillment. The prophet Elijah spoke as recorded in the first book of Kings, chapter 18, verse 41. And Elijah said to Ahab, "Go eat and drink, for there is the sound of a heavy rain." Even if it wasn't visible yet, it was already likely to rain. You now have the same situation. Even if you can't see the change with your physical eyes quite yet, your soul is aware of it. You sense the shiver of transition, the arrival of new seasons, the imminence of plenty, and the selection of one. Know this: the change in prophecy is not coincidental. It is the harvest of seeds planted in suffering, the fruit of your loyalty, and the prize for your perseverance. Heaven never forgets. Every tear you shed, every prayer you muttered, and every decision you made to remain upright served as fuel for this pivotal moment. You're not fortunate to be here. Your tenacity and divine timing have clashed, which is why you are here. Imagine the caterpillar vanishing inside the cocoon. It seems completed, secluded, and dead from the outside. However, change is occurring inside. The cocoon bursts, and the butterfly emerges after the allotted time has passed, never again to crawl. Your path has been that. Death was not the cocoon of hiddenness. It was transformation. You will never crawl again. You were born to fly. This transformation is prophetic, and it also implies that some doors, even ones you believed you needed, will shut. Some friendships, locations, and habits cannot follow you to your destination. So don't fight when the old fades. Although it hurts, the pruning has a function. The Father is creating space for new relationships, chances, and alignments that match the destiny that is playing out in front of you. And I summon you now, chosen one, to perform a prophetic deed to commemorate this occasion. Leave a comment below with the number 888. This number represents fresh starts, finished cycles, and the emergence of new seasons. You are announcing the end of the old when you write it. I welcome a novel. With your words, you are confirming what heaven has already spoken about you. Don't undervalue this act's impact. You go from listening to agreeing, from believing to announcing when you write it down. Alignment is honored in heaven, and doors start to open quickly when your words, your beliefs, and your emotions are all in alignment. The prophetic shift, if chosen, is not about little changes. It has to do with drastic change. Things are moving in your favor. The mood is shifting. You're being carried by the winds toward a future you could only imagine. You'll discover yourself entering spaces you never would have imagined. You move with confidence you never imagined you had, and speak with authority you never believed you had. Now is not the moment to regress. Now is the moment to take a strong stance, extend your wings, and move with confidence. The season for cocoons is finished. The period of concealment is ended. The quiet has ended. You are rising, shining, and unflappable. Heaven has been preparing for this shift for a long time, and it will be seen by the world. Select one, then raise your gaze to the horizon. Feel it? The sound of torrential rain has arrived. There won't be a prophesied change. It's already started. Have trust and go into it. Enter it with courage. Acknowledge that you have been selected for this particular moment. Pay close attention to this. Your trip has not been in vain. All of your disappointments, delays, and setbacks have been subtly preparing you for acceleration. exactly where you felt like you were moving more slowly. In reality, the seasons when advancement seemed unattainable were times when momentum was building. God was pushing you back like an arrow in a bow, not to keep you down, but to propel you forward, even if it seemed to be stasis. You need to comprehend your story's divine contradiction. You sprang from the dirt that the enemies believed would bury you. What he intended to be barriers became stepping stones. The same soil that is currently bearing fruit in your life was irrigated by the tears you wept. Every setback you had, every rejection you encountered, your relentless ascent has been fueled by every adversity you have overcome. Chapter 4, verse 13 of the book of Philippians contains this information. Because Christ gives me power, I am able to do everything. This goes beyond simple encouragement. Empowerment is what it is. It implies that nothing can stop you from climbing. You are not the source of your own power. It originates from Christ's boundless strength inside you. Selected 1. Think about the eagle. When a storm hits, the eagle opens its wings and exploits the storm's wind to fly higher while other birds hide. The currents that raise the eagle above the clouds are the same winds that frighten others. The same is true for you. The same forces that previously threatened to destroy you are now driving you forward. Take a close look at your tail. Every time you're pushed down, you finally climbed higher than before. Have you not observed that? That isn't a coincidence. It is the chosen's pattern. The fact that you're not naturally resilient is incomprehensible to the opponent. It's supernatural. You are only made better by what should have terminated you. What ought to have hushed you instead strengthened your voice. Your ascent is not only inexorable, but also indisputable. It will be impossible for those who questioned you to reject what God is doing in your life. Those who failed to notice, you will be forced to watch you rise. You won't have to demonstrate your worth. Your life will speak for you more than words ever could. The light shining on you will be too intense to ignore. Selected 1. Your steps are becoming faster now. What used to take years will now happen in a matter of months. Doors that seem to be sealed will effortlessly spring open. You are being carried onward by the changing ground underneath you. A new season of opportunity is upon you. Favor envelopes you like a shield as resources pour. Don't be alarmed by this acceleration speed. Sometimes it might seem like everything is happening at once, overwhelming. But keep in mind that you are ready for this. You develop the ability to manage what is now being unleashed as a result of the years of waiting, the testing seasons, and the endurance nights. This acceleration is not something you're going into unprepared. As someone who has been tested by storms and forged by fire, you are taking over. Recognize that your success is not just yours. It's for the people who are watching you, those who are close to you, and others who will be inspired by your tale. Your elevation serves as a lighthouse and a symbol to guide others to God's faithfulness. Others will rise as you do. People will follow you through the doors you open as you tear down boundaries. Selected 1. Even though you could feel the weight of duty, don't confuse it with burden. This weight is not burden, it is splendor. It's the cloak of witness, influence, and leadership. The thing isn't crushing you, it is crested above you. Additionally, keep in mind that acceleration does not equate to chaos. God has perfect order and perfect time. Your ascent has been planned at every turn. You're not racing in circles. You're being led with a purpose. Even if the road ahead is unknown, it is ready. Though it may seem far off, the future is safe. So take pride in this fact. You can't be stopped. You can't be held by a chain. No voice can keep you quiet. You're not dimmed by any shadow. The ascent has already started, and what heaven has decided cannot be stopped. Selected 1. Take a breath. Setbacks no longer define this in your tale. It is characterized by an undeniable heavenly ascent. You will go further, higher, and quicker than you could have ever dreamed. By giving yourself up to the force that carries you, rather than by trying. You are an eagle in flight, an arrow launched, and a torch that becomes brighter with each stride. The moment has arrived for your voice to be heard, chosen one. You have been silenced for far too long by uncertainty, fear, and the burden of previous injuries. The seal has now been broken, however, and that which was concealed inside you is now coming to the fore. You're more than simply a voice. It's a weapon. It conveys vitality, force, and authority. The atmosphere changes as you talk. Darkness shudders when you speak the truth. The adversary made a concerted effort to silence you for a cause. He was aware that your words had the power to upend strongholds and foster faith. He was aware that his falsehoods would become less convincing as you found your voice. He attacked your confidence for that reason. Why did he exaggerate rejection? Why he attempted to persuade you that what you said was irrelevant. However, the fact is that heaven has put a sound inside of you that has to be emitted, and your voice is a trumpet. In chapter 1, the prophet Jeremiah provides testimony. In verse 9, the Lord touched my lips with his outstretched hand and said, I have placed my words in your mouth. Now you feel this similar touch. You don't own the words you carry. God personally put those words in your soul. They are heavy because of this. Why they cut through the night. Why they awaken what others have been sleeping. Consider the influence that words have had throughout history. Creation itself was created with words. Light arose when it was allowed to exist. Prophets changed countries with words. Jesus used words to raise the dead from the grave, cure the sick, and calm storms. That same authority, the chosen one, is now carried by your voice, which is in harmony with heaven. You can't undervalue yourself anymore. Your voice is more than just a way to express yourself. It is a tool of God. Heaven hears your prayers when you murmur them in the night. Order emerges when chaos is addressed with truth. When you give someone encouragement,